I wanted to make a really quick video this morning about a small habit that I have started, which literally takes less than 2 minutes just before you go to bed. The changes that it's made have been small. Now I've been doing it for a while, they're really starting to build up and to accumulate. I find that's quite a common theme with a lot of self-development, is that the stuff that often brings about the biggest change are the small things that you do over and over again consistently. And I feel like that's a whole video to itself. And I'll cover that again in another video, I think, when I have more time. But I just wanted to share this tip this morning. So what I've been doing every night before I go to bed, I make sure that I give myself at least 2 minutes. And there isn't really anyone that's so busy they don't have 2 minutes to dedicate to something. But what I do at the end of the day, just before not before I go to sleep, I normally read, but when I get into bed, I open up my laptop, but you could use a paper journal or whatever, and just write down one thing that you want to achieve the next day that is going to move you forwards towards your goals. I feel like there are a lot of people out there that have some idea of what they want to achieve, and those goals can seem so vast that we don't make any progress whatsoever. But I can promise you that if you write down one thing, one small, tiny step, even if it's minuscule, even if it seems so pointless, just put it down on that list. And the idea of this list is that at the end of every day, when you come to write your next goal for the following day, is you reflect on whether you've achieved your previous goal, whether, or if you haven't, why you haven't, and how you felt about that goal. And I promise you that if you do this for a while, even if the goals are tiny and minuscule, I promise you that after a while, give it a week, 2-3 weeks, you will start to see changes and you will start to build confidence. And especially when you set goals that are that small, you have no excuse not to do them. And therefore, you automatically start making progress, but it doesn't really even feel like you're doing anything. And over a long enough timeline, you realize that you have actually made progress and it hasn't been anywhere near as difficult as you thought it would be. And in terms of actually getting this goal done, so if we break your day up, there are certain things that you need to achieve. So you need to sleep, you need to eat, you probably need to work, and then so there is no discounting any of those things. We accept that those are a part of life that are unavoidable, that we must do. But if you set a small goal and make it your priority, that once you have met all your basic needs, once you have done all the things that you need to do that day, before you do anything else, you get that goal done. You get that goal completed. And maybe you don't complete it. Maybe you were over ambitious. Maybe the target was too big. Maybe you didn't have as much time as you thought you would. But that is the point of reflecting on the process that evening before you set the next goal. If you realize your goal was too big, you can reflect on that. Maybe set a more realistic expectation and maybe half the size of the goal for the following day. Or maybe it is that the following day you don't happen to be working, or you have more time than you thought you would, and you can retry that same goal. But yeah, it's one of those things, it just seems like such a small thing to do, but it's often the way with self-development. It is the tiny things that build over time, that build empires. And I think the biggest failure for most people is not a lack of willpower or that they're lazy or stupid or whatever. It is more that we struggle to be consistent. We struggle with probably boredom, I would say, more than anything. But also, when something doesn't feel big or grand, it feels like there is no point doing it. And that is definitely something I have always struggled with. I've always tried to make huge changes all in one go, been dispirited when I haven't been able to achieve that, and then gone back into a cycle of feeling like there's no point trying to better myself in some way. And I'm realizing that it is these small goals done consistently every single day that are really what build confidence and character in us. And I'll give you an example of this, recording this video today. Now, this was one of my first priorities. My first priority actually was exercising, was going for a run. That's something that I have been doing a lot of recently and has been really good for my mental health. So I always prioritize exercise first thing in the morning. And my second goal was to record this video. And it is 10 o'clock in the morning. And I am recording this video. And I didn't want to. I didn't want to press record. I didn't want to record this video. And that is because yesterday I had a tough day. I had an awful lot going on. Then I managed to slip up and smash my shin, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see. That was like a really deep cut that went down to the bone, so I had to go to minor injuries and have that glued up. And I'd also trained really hard yesterday, so because of that I didn't manage to eat properly, struggled to sleep last night, so I ended up getting about 2 hours sleep. Woke up this morning just feeling like shit. But I knew that if I did nothing else for this day, I needed to exercise and I needed to record this video. And I knew that I probably wasn't going to be able to do a massive run. I wasn't going to do like a 10-15k run because I didn't sleep well last night and I haven't eaten properly. So I just set the goal of doing 2k, which is exactly what I've done. And I knew I wasn't going to record some big epic video, so I've done a 5-minute video sat in my car, basic as it gets. But I think you need to be kind of dynamic sometimes in setting goals and being alert to life, I guess. Life happens and things get in the way, but we can always adapt and try to fit in the goals that are going to bring us at least a little bit closer to living a life that we want to live, because that is the goal of self-development, right? So yeah, that is my tip for today. So before you go to bed, jot down 1, maybe 2 goals that you want to achieve the next day. Make them really, really small. Make them small enough that you don't have an excuse not to do them. And make sure that once you have completed all of your essential jobs for that day, that you get on with your goals before anything else, before you sit down to watch TV or watch this video on YouTube or play Xbox or whatever it is you do in your free time. Make sure that you do these 1 or 2 tiny little goals, and I promise you that given time, given consistency, and especially taking a note of these things every single night, you will realize just how quickly you start to build momentum and, more importantly, build confidence in yourself. And now what I'm finding is that it's easier to set slightly bigger goals, and I'm hoping this is going to be a habit that builds and builds and builds to the point where I have the confidence to set goals that I would have thought impossible only a few months ago. Oh, and before I forget, there is a link to my newsletter in the description below. You can sign up to that to get weekly newsletters from me. And if you like these videos enough, if you like the way that I see the world, then I am opening up a limited amount of spots to work with me on a one-to-one basis. So if that's something that interests you, you can also apply for that in the link in the description. Thanks again for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.